You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi and Alec Rude on YouTube under the channel name Anthony Pasquazi. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe and like button. It really does help the channel out. You can follow me at _Anthony Pass on Twitter. You can follow him at Alec Rude 10, and you can follow the show account at The Squeeze 4, the numeral 4. We're happy to be back here on this fine, chilly Sunday in Winona, Minnesota. Starting to get that crisp fall weather again. It's feeling like football. It's feeling like soccer. You know, it's my favorite season of the year is the fall sports, baseball playoffs, you know, gearing up for winter. Christmas time is awesome, but you know, Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. You gotta enjoy the fact that crisp air is finally upon us.
And you gotta enjoy that the Bears lost. Isn't that correct? That's what you gotta really enjoy.
So, okay, we weren't going to talk about this until later in the show because I didn't want to get all.
We don't have to talk about it now.
We're talking about it now.
That was my highlight of the week.
So we made a gentleman's bet. You bet me 100 handshakes, and I bet you 5 handshakes. Handshakes, yeah. We're athletes. We can't bet, you know. So
I play fantasy football for handshakes.
Handshakes. That's what it is. So that Mitchell Trubisky would be a top 5 fantasy quarterback. I liked my odds. He gave me 20-1 odds. That's pretty good. That's a lot of handshakes. If I won the bet, not looking too good. He looked like the worst.
8 fantasy points.
He looked like the worst quarterback, fantasy and legit quarterbacking wise in the NFL in that game. I mean, the dude can't throw left. I don't know what happened. He can't throw right. He can't run anymore. He had no help from his offensive line whatsoever. And the team isn't going to be that bad. Let's be real. The offense is not going to look that bad all season long. If it does, I'm in trouble because I was very bodacious about how the Bears were going to do this season. I still think they're going to end up winning 10 games. I said they were going to win 10 games last year. I think they're going to win 10 games this year. I don't know if that'll be enough to win the division. Packers looked better than I thought they would. We'll see how the Vikings look against the Falcons later today. But yeah, I was watching it in my bed on my laptop. Our roommate Brandon was in the living room watching it on his big screen TV.
I was for the first half.
You were in there, yeah. And I just not a lot of clapping. There wasn't a lot of anything, really. There was the Khalil Mack little SWAT gif that we got out of it with him swatting the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands, and then we had the Aaron Rodgers throw. And that was about the extent of the highlights of that game. One question I have for you, I don't know if you know the answer. You probably don't. You don't know Matt Nagy any more than I do. Why in the world is Tariq Cohen returning punts and kicks when you have Cordero Patterson on your team, who is renowned as the best?
Patterson's washed up.
But last year he was the best return guy. So what? He's washed up after one off season. You're not going to let him do what he's best at. The whole reason you signed him. I get Tariq Cohen is shifty and fast and he's the human joystick, but Cordero, that's what he does. That's what Cordero Patterson does. There's such
good for the Vikes.
He was awesome for the Vikes. That's when he came up, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was drafted by the Vikings.
I think so.
And he was just the Devin Hester. He was the Devin Hester for the Minnesota Vikings. Couldn't do anything else. Couldn't catch the football. But okay. I'm going to take a step back. They lost the first game last year. They were 3-3 through 6 games last year, and they finished 9-1. So just like in baseball, you can say, okay, it's still early. We don't know much about this team. We do know the defense is still good, and that's important to me, and that's important to anybody who has the Bears defense on fantasy, which I do. But we also know that the offense has to get better. It has to, because this defense isn't going to allow more than 15, 16, 17, 18 points a game. You should win a majority of your games if you're only allowing that many points.
They did have the easiest schedule in the NFL though last year. So after those 3-3, like who do they play? They play the Saints this year.
They play
Saints.
Saints. They play the Chiefs.
Chargers.
They play the Chargers.
That's not easy, my friend.
Yeah,
Vikings twice.
I don't know.
At Lambeau.
They played up to their competition all year last year, and they played down to their competition all year last year. So that's cliched, and it doesn't really say a lot analytically, but I hope that they will play up to that competition this year. And who's to say that those first place teams, I mean, they're playing against a first place team as well. The Bears were a first place team last year. I understand they had a weak schedule, but if you just look at it from the AFC South's point of view, or the AFC South's point of view, they're looking at the Bears and they're saying, man, that's a tough team. We just don't see it because I root for the Bears. You hate the Bears. But I think the perception around the NFL is that this is a team that may regress, but they're still good, and they're still going to be a tough out. And anytime you have Khalil Mack, one of the best players in the NFL, on your team lining up against you, it's going to be tough.
I just don't think Mr. Trubisky is.
He's not.
They picked him before Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. That's kind of tough. You could have Pat Mahomes running your offense right now.
I know. How sweet would that be? An offense that's very similar, almost carbon copy. It's Matt Nagy's from the Andy Reid tree. Pat Mahomes.
Watson would have worked kind of good too. He's a running quarterback.
I know. I'm not losing faith in him. Mitchell Trubisky has shown signs. He showed a lot of signs last year that he could be good. 6 touchdowns against the Buccaneers. He led that almost game-winning drive against the Eagles. If Cody Parkey wouldn't have double doinked. He showed some nice things. Last night or Thursday night was not one of them. It was.
You could have Christian McCaffrey.
You could have a lot of things, but you could also do that in every single draft.
This is tough. What the way you look though.
And get this. I don't know if you remember this. He also traded up to get Mitchell Trubisky with the second pick.
Fournette.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff there. But he is the franchise quarterback. You have locked yourself into that, so you're gonna make hay while the sun shines. I don't know how bright that sun is gonna be. Trubisky might not be, enough to make a lot of hay, but
I just don't see it.
I don't see it either. We just got a little bit off track, but we will continue rolling. We ended last week's show with a very heated conversation about St. Thomas and the MIAC, and we still love each other. Okay, we're still friends. At least I think we are. And then Colin Sturr, friend of the show, he's been on a couple times. He's sat in for you while you've been off away playing tennis, which is becoming a sport that I watch and actually enjoy.
The finals today?
I'm getting into it. I really do like watching tennis. Who would have thunk? He responded. I love comments. I love live stream comments. I don't know if we have any rolling yet. Not yet. But Colin responded after the show, and he had a really nice point. He said, St. Thomas is the biggest school in the MIAC and a founding member. We, as in St. Mary's, are the smallest. Give me a reason that we shouldn't have to leave because we are a smaller and less competitive school than all the other schools that are larger than us. It makes sense. You look at one end of the spectrum and the other end of the spectrum. If we're kicking the big boy out, should we look to kick the little boy out as well because we can't compete? I responded, as my analytical brain is wont to do, with some math. And I looked it up. And this is exactly what I said. I'm just going to read it verbatim. Now, I see your logic here for sure. Both schools are on the extreme ends of the conference when it comes to student size, which is not the only factor in this conversation, but it is a factor. However, one is a grotesque outlier, whilst the other is not. The average school size in the MIAC is 2,600 students. If you calculate, thank you, Tony Dactylidis, Fenwick, my statistics teacher. If you calculate the upper and lower fences, you come to find that St. Thomas is nearly a 2,000 student outlier above the upper fence. That's massive. That's the size of St. Mary's. That's larger than St. Mary's, is how much of an outlier they are. The lower fence is 815. St. Mary's lies within that lower fence, making them no longer an outlier. They fit into the MIAC student size. St. Thomas is nearly double the size of the next largest school. St. Mary's is not even close to being half the size as the next smallest school. Now, again, this is not the only factor in this conversation. There's a lot of nuance, but we had a comment. I responded to the comment. Do you have a comment on my comment responding to the comment?
We're competitive.
We're competitive for sure.
If you make the playoffs in the major sports, baseball, men's hockey, women's hockey, I don't see.
Yeah,
it's not an argument.
Yeah,
that's simple. It's simple as that.
I agree, and I think we're going in the right direction. Most of the programs at this school are heading in the right direction. I was talking to Coach Nick Larson yesterday at the cross country meets, which we will talk about a little bit later. He's one of my favorite people on campus. Also has been on the show before, and he basically said, "Look, we shouldn't look to be satisfied with 6th place in the conference, and a first round exit. We shouldn't be happy with that. It's great that it happens and we should enjoy it, but that should be considered a failure. We should look to make the playoffs every single year. We should look to compete with, no longer the St. Thomases, but the St. John's and the Gustavuses and the Olafs, these programs that are much larger than ours. It's kind of a David versus Goliath story, which you harped on with the St. Thomas thing. And I understand it. I just think it's David or Goliath got a little bit too big. And David, there were a lot more Davids than there were Goliaths.
I'm not getting into it.
We're not. We're going to go here. If you could go grab Claire Clausen, who you may recognize from Claire and Teresa. We had Teresa on last week. Now we have Claire. Eventually get them together, I'm sure. But for the interim, we are going to continue what we did last season. I believe I took first place. Alec took second. Claire and Teresa took third. The idea of this Claire and Teresa picking NFL football segment is that none of us really know anything. Claire and Teresa literally know nothing, and they finished relatively close to what Alec and I picked. So we're just going to go right through. Claire, how was your summer?
It was good.
It was good?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel empty without Teresa sitting next to you?
I texted her before I came and I was like, I'll do the best I can without you. It doesn't feel right.
You have to channel. You have to channel Teresa
Her
Robleski.
spirit.
You do. This is Claire Clausen. Teresa Robleski, by the way, is the creator of the Squeeze logo. I feel like I don't say it enough, but we need to. This logo is everywhere. Yeah, this logo is absolutely everywhere. So many people wear it. So I think we need to give her more recognition. So Teresa Robleski, she's the creator of the Squeeze logo. There might be a new one in the works. Maybe. We're teasing it a little bit. Okay. So you guys did pick the Bears. Teresa was in last Sunday and she picked the Bears. All three of us picked the Bears and we were all incorrect. So we have 9 games to pick. We're going to pick 10 games every week. We're going to pick in the NFC North conference games, and we're going to pick the primetime games. So that's Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night football.
Football.
Woo-hoo. Or maybe not Thursday night, but you get the gist. Rams against the Panthers.
I feel like a Panther would beat a Ram, so I'm going to go with the Panthers.
I like the pick. I also am picking the Panthers. Alec Rude is picking the Rams. No chance, he says. Falcons versus Vikings.
The Falcons versus the Vikings. Well, technically I'm a Packers fan, but like in this case scenario, I'm going to pick the Vikings because I am from Minnesota.
Perfect. This is kind of the idea. Alec and I attempt to use logic and knowledge of football when we're picking these games. Claire just goes off what she feels.
We pick like off loyalties and colors.
Yeah, loyalties, colors, fun mascot names.
Yeah.
You very rarely pick the Raiders because nobody likes a Raider. Chiefs and Jaguars.
Well, I picked the Panthers and the Jaguars similar, so I'm going to pick the Jaguars.
The Cats. The Jungle Cats. I like it. Titans and Browns.
Oh, we always pick colors, Browns.
Always pick the colors. Lions against Cardinals. I think we know where you're going.
Cards.
Roll cards. Yeah, roll cards, baby. Colts against Chargers.
Colts against Chargers. I think the Chargers have a very unique mascot, being like a lightning bolt, so I'll go with them.
Look at that knowledge of the lightning bolts. I like it. Now, also, what we have to really, like, you can't pay attention to football. That's kind of part of the deal. Can you do that? Can you not pay attention to football?
You know, Anthony, I'll do it just for you.
Okay, you know what? That makes me feel really special.
But I did get a football question right in trivia.
You did? That was so long ago. By golly. That was what, 2 years ago?
No, it was like 3 days ago.
Oh, different trivia. I thought you meant Squeeze trivia.
No.
I am sitting next to trivia champion.
Yes,
Claire
we won trivia.
And you're going to see the Minnesota Loons, is that correct?
Yes, we're actually so excited.
I'm jealous.
But I knew that Drew Brees was the quarterback of the Saints. And so we got a trivia point for that.
Absolutely. And you know Tom Brady?
Yes, he's the Patriots.
Speaking of, Steelers against Patriots.
Patriots. I'm loyal to Tom Brady.
Patriots. Okay, that might have been the best segue I've ever done, personally. So I just want everyone to see that. That was a beautiful segue.
Noted.
Texans and Saints.
Oh, the Saints because Drew Brees.
Saints because Drew Brees. Look at this. It's almost like we did this on purpose. And then finally, the Broncos and the Raiders.
Oh, well, we don't pick the Raiders, so the Broncos.
Broncos. We don't pick the Raiders, so the Broncos. Very similar picks across the board. I think I'm only differing in one game against Claire. So Alec and I are differing with 3 games. That means that we're different. I don't know how that math works.
Nick Larson says Squeeze definitely knows nothing about the NFL.
That hurts, but I did just give you a compliment, so I don't know how exactly I feel that the compliment was not reciprocated. I don't know much about the NFL. I'll be the first to admit it. But you know what, Nick Larson? You probably don't know much about the NFL either. And I'm the one with the microphone. So that was kind of mean. We're going to take it to a break here. Thank you so much, Claire Clausen, for sitting in. And Alec Rude and I are going to have a little conversation about Michigan football. He's got an M on his sweatshirt. It's for Minnesota, not Michigan. And it was quite the weekend in college football. A few upsets. We'll have Frankie Bacalars coming in at 10:50 to talk about it. And also Andy Alleman at 10:30. Boy, did I miss him. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to The Squeeze. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquazi and Alec Ruder on YouTube, not on KSMR Radio. Broadcasting live every Sunday from 10 to 12. We're changing the timing just a bit. I don't know. Did I mute the microphone in the break? I hope I did. Not like we said anything bad, but I was just really happy with how things have been going so far. So hopefully I muted the microphone. We are every Sunday, but not next Sunday. You are heading home to Minnesota. I'm heading home to Chicago. You're already in Minnesota. I don't know.
Tennis tournament.
Tennis tournament.
For a tennis tournament.
Okay. Tennis tournament with St. Mary's. Where's this at? Please.
Bethel.
Bethel.
Okay, it's an exhibition tournament.
Okay.
So you're playing matches, but it doesn't count as your record. But
Gotcha.
it's a tournament.
And remember, when you're serving, you got to get it in the other box. This is the one thing I know.
Or
I know.
doubles, you try to peg the other guy, and then you get a free.
Oh.
Do you know that?
I didn't know that rule.
If you hit the guy in the air, it's your point.
Okay. I like it. I'm
So
learning. I'm
if
learning.
guys are being. You can't say.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
you
that-
could swear because we're on YouTube.
They're being dicks.
Okay.
You
Woo!
You can hit
Happy
them.
Sunday. You can.
You can hit them.
I like that.
Give them a little scare.
I like that
You
rule.
get two serves, just blast the first serve at him, get a little serve, and hits him, you get a point.
You can't do that in track. There's nothing like that. You can't just throw a shot put at
Or
somebody.
tennis, if you get a ball, if you get an overheader in the air, you hit at that guy, man. If he's being a D word, hit him.
A debag is a radio friendly way of
A
saying it.
debag.
A debag. You can't say the other way. And there's so many different intricate rules. Nick Larson and I actually love talking about it, but we're not on the radio, so we can say whatever we want. We got to keep the brand rolling though. The Squeeze is a very important brand. We need to be family friendly here on the Sunday morning broadcasts. Okay, Alec, this is the root thought for the week. It feels like you really have a strong opinion on Michigan football. I'm going to give you the stage.
I hate Michigan. And I know, just in football.
Okay.
Overrated.
Wonderful state.
Never been.
Oh, well, maybe you should. Okay.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, you
Go
should.
to the big house would be fun. They're ranked top 10 every single year. People say, oh, this is their year this year. Jim Harbaugh, that guy has done absolutely nothing. I am so frustrated with everyone preseason ranks. Last morning, I guess I could say it was 11 a.m. start. Took Army. Army's an okay team, but double overtime at home, you can't take Army to double OT if you want to win the whole thing.
Mhm.
So I think Michigan, it's just not a good team. I don't believe in it. Ohio State, I'm looking right now. They've lost 14 of their last 15 to Ohio State. 4 of the last 5, they've lost double digit. the two in the big house, they lost double digit. If you're Michigan and you're a national title contender, you can't lose Ohio State by double digits. It's just not right. So I'm sick of the overhype. USC and Texas, I'm sick of that overhype too. You saw Texas last night. So USC's not even ranked in the top 25 right now. Everyone, Texas is back. USC's coming up. Like, it's time for college football to start looking towards these new teams that are coming up. Clemson, Bama's still there, but
UCF.
they are. They're coming up. They're better than Michigan, I think, right now.
Maybe.
I don't know. Like, Michigan was brutal last. Trey Patterson, the quarterback, looked terrible. They
Yeah.
had 14 points in regulation.
Mhm.
That's not good. But you got to start talking about the teams
Well.
that are actually doing good. It was. I don't like them.
I also don't like Michigan. I'm a Notre Dame fan. There's a rivalry there. This rivalry of Ohio State and Michigan hasn't been much. I don't know if you can call it a
Michigan
rivalry.
still leads it. I guess you can go back to like the early 80s and go Michigan wins this. But 14 of the last 15, you can't beat them.
Yeah, and you're paying Jim Harbaugh more money than 99% of the coaches in college
It's
football.
brutal.
You should be winning a lot more games than you
The
are.
Big Ten is not. It's good, but it's not that good.
Is it good though? Is it good though? I think you pretty much have Ohio State. I think Frankie's going to come in here and tell us that.
Like, they've
Wisconsin's
gone
going all the way.
10-3, then 8-5 in 2017, and 10-3 and 10-3. Like, that's good records.
Yeah.
But if you're a national title contender, you can only lose 1 or 0
Yeah.
in football.
See, you hate Michigan. I dislike Michigan because of the rivalry, but I like when they're good. There's something about the blue and gold and the Wolverine
I just
head.
think their football's boring. I went to the Wisconsin-Michigan football game last year at Wisconsin. It was a fun atmosphere. College game day was there and everything, but Michigan is just a boring team. I don't know. Besides their quarterback this year, I could not name you another player. I couldn't. Shea Patterson's the only one, and I know him because when he transferred in, he was so sick.
Yeah,
Such a big deal. I could not name you another player on Michigan.
I couldn't either.
Every year, I could maybe name you 2. And like Denard Robinson.
I was literally about to say same way.
How is he doing
I
right
was
now?
literally about to say Denard Robinson. That's
Or
about
that
the only
Garrett-
Wolverine I could.
Garrett
name.
guy or whatever, who was number 98, whatever his name was.
Oh, Jabril Peppers. He was.
Yeah.
He's a Brown.
Besides
Oh wait,
that,
no, he's not a Brown. He's a Jet.
Yeah.
He got traded, I think. We're great. We
We
know
don't
so
know.
much about football.
that's the thing. Michigan don't matter.
It
doesn't matter where he
It
is.
doesn't matter. Who cares? Couldn't care less.
I don't think they produce many. Okay, offensive linemen maybe, but like quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, I can't name you many from. Okay, Tom Brady,
Mhm.
but besides that, like, They got to change something. I don't know if it's recruiting or who they're going after, but they don't have a star in anything.
They don't. Yeah, they don't. And I think Jim Harbaugh is probably done. 2 more years, maybe. And then he's just one of those, he's a fiery guy. And if you don't catch that, lightning in a bottle, I guess. I was searching for a cliche. If you don't catch that lightning in a bottle in his 6 years that he's going to be there, he's going to burn out because he's just an abrasive personality and he's rah, rah, rah all the time. And he's got his ugly khakis and you can only look at those for so long. So I think 2 years tops, if they don't do anything, if they lose to Ohio State this year, you might see him get fired.
Well, it's at Ohio State. And it's at Michigan, but how good Ohio State is looked. I want Ohio State to just go in there and just embarrass them. But Michigan does play Wisconsin coming up. I can't remember exactly when that is. It's the 21st. So not next week. They have a week off, but they travel to Wisconsin. That's gonna be fun. I think Wisconsin's gonna win that one. I think Michigan's gonna lose to either like Michigan State or Penn State. I think they're gonna have 3 or 4 losses again.
Wow.
I don't see it.
Yeah. This could be it. It could be chopping block time for
You
Jim
never
Harbaugh.
know.
You never know.
It's gonna be interesting.
So what's up with these NFL coaches going to college football and struggling? Lovie Smith at Illinois.
I know.
You think maybe he turned it around? I don't think that.
That's
that
why
ship's
you're
been
Nick
turned around at
Saban.
all.
You just stay where
Just
you
stay
are.
where you are. Yeah.
There don't need to go.
No, absolutely.
Dabo Sweeney, I guarantee that guy would never leave.
He's a life.
He'll never
He's a
leave.
lifer at Clemson.
Yeah. So I don't know. They
Wait a
don't
minute.
get it.
I thought that the Clemson Texas A&M game was supposed to be a good one. Wasn't that supposed to be a good game?
Okay.
It was good for
Compare
you.
the Clemson schedule. It's
Wait,
it was a good game.
That was the good game, and now they play nobody.
Clemson basically booked their way to the playoffs after last night.
They
They're
might-
going to the playoff. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
They might have a 500-point differential by the end of the year.
They only won by 14 at the end, but yeah, they just dominated the
Yeah.
whole game.
Yeah,
It was fun
He's
to
good.
watch.
He's good. Okay, well,
Sunshine.
what do? We run a St. Mary's sports radio show on YouTube. and we're not on the radio, and we haven't talked that much about St. Mary's sports. Let's get back into our wheelhouse. Friday night was the rebranded Best in the Nest. I'm not sure how I feel about the name quite yet.
It's kind of cool.
Anytime you change anything, there's going to be pushback. I personally liked M Club, but it didn't tell you exactly what the event was. It was just M Club. Best in the Nest tells you a little bit more of what the event is about. For those of you who don't know, this is the awards ceremony for St. Mary's Sports.
They added awards too, didn't
They
they?
did. They added a couple awards. They added
Newcomer of the Year, Team of the Year.
Yeah.
That wasn't. I didn't remember that from last
yeah,
year.
Brooklyn Paulson and the women's tennis team won those awards respectively. But this is the big honor is male athlete of the year, female athlete of the year. This is what every one of us aspires to be. You know, you're going to win it next year, and I'm going to win it my 5th year, and the Squeeze is going to go down in infamy. I mean, we will be the greatest, most athletic radio show.
I could sew in 2 more, and you could sew in 3 more because we could come back and just visit.
We could. No, you're right.
Shouldn't be too hard.
But okay, again, in short, it's a big honor. It's, believe it or not, more honorable than winning a squeezy, if that's even possible. But yeah, so here we go. Winona, Minnesota. St. Mary's, this is courtesy of Donnie Nato. St. Mary's University, James Green and Brandy Blattner, it was great to see her again, became household names on a national stage during the 2018-2019 season. Blattner was named D3Hoops.com All-Region for the 4th consecutive season as a member of the St. Mary's women's basketball team, while Green picked up 8, count them, 8 postseason honors, including a pair of All-American accolades during his sophomore year. He's only a sophomore. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. I have a little bit of a man crush on James Green. I think my coach could testify to that. Sophomore year with the Cardinal baseball team. And Friday evening, the duo were once again on center stage as Blattner was named St. Mary's Outstanding Female Athlete and Green was selected Outstanding Male Athlete as part of St. Mary's Athletic Department's Best in the Nest Awards ceremony. And Blattner and Green weren't the only Cardinal student athletes recognized during an event of celebration highlighting all of St. Mary's outstanding achievements during the 2018-2019 season. Michelle Reamer of the women's basketball team and men's basketball junior Kevin Gleason were named outstanding female and male scholar athletes, while Cardinal women's basketball freshman Brooklyn Paulson was named newcomer of the year, and the Cardinal women's tennis team took home team of the year honors. If you do remember, Brooklyn Paulson, well-deserved co-rookie of the year in the MIAC. She shot a ridiculous percentage from behind the arc, and I was talking to Coach Foley. They're looking to use her a lot more this year. A lot of pace and space basketball action. My favorite sport to watch at St. Mary's has to be the basketball programs. Both the men and women are going to do amazing things, and Brooklyn Paulson is a spearhead for that women's squad. Kevin Gleason returning. He's a junior this year? Or is he a senior this year?
He's a senior.
Yeah, I think he's a senior. He'll be a point guard. Great leadership. I know that they have 5 new point guards coming in, so there's going to be a lot of competition there. But Kevin Gleason, I'm sure, will lead with integrity. And Brandy Blattner, you sit there at the event. You worked there. I wasn't there last year. You probably were. So we've each been to 2. And you sit there and you kind of hear the murmurs of, every team thinking that their athlete should be the athlete that won. The track team had 3 up for nomination. We had Kyle Lichtenegger, Christian Beamer on the men's side, and we had Rachel Odie on the women's side. And at first I thought to myself, well, is this kind of a legacy award for Brandy Blattner? Like, she didn't have a great season in either sport last year up to her standards. And that's where I kind of receded a little bit and realized her standards were so amazing that I expected more out of her. When in reality, she did have 2 pretty good seasons, and I well-deserved 2-time now outstanding female athlete of the year. Becca Dupe won it last year. So, if we're just trading every other year, we get a track athlete. I think I'm fine with that. I think Niels is fine with that. We're okay. We're going to keep that rolling. Rachel Odie has a very good shot. I mean, high jump. Talk about exciting things. She has a very nice shot of even going all the way.
Male athlete? Me.
Yeah, male athlete you next year, and then the next year, me.
Me, then you.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're gonna win your senior and your junior year. Okay. I don't even know if a tennis athlete could do that. Could you do that as a tennis athlete? You'd have to go what?
Win the national championship. I hope I am.
Are you winning the national championship? Is that what you're calling right now?
You just gotta pray before every match, and you'll just play out of your. I'll just play out of my mind.
I think first you have to cut the peanut butter pretzels. That's the first thing you have.
I did.
I don't know.
I threw them away.
I don't know, man. I didn't look in the dumpster. I heard someone looking around in the dumpster. And it might have been you.
I have been eating bad, but I told myself tennis starts today will be fine.
Okay, tennis starts today. We'll be fine. I like it. This is the first step. I think Andy's calling me. If you want to go grab him, see if he's in the hallway. This is what we're doing now. It's a little different. It's a little more impromptu. It's a little more casual, a little more relaxed.
He is not here.
He's not here. So he's just calling me. I don't know what he is. He might be running late. Andy Alleman was supposed to come in at 10:30. If he's running late, that's okay. We're rolling right now. But best in the nest, here's just a little introspection from me. My freshman year, it was awesome because I had all these aspirations of one day being male athlete of the year because I had a lot of lofty goals. Now I kind of joke about it because I haven't done anything. I literally haven't done anything in track my first 2 seasons. So last year I went home. I didn't even go to M Club. I didn't want to be around it because I was just kind of, I don't know if it was jealousy as much as it was just disappointment in myself that I wasn't named All-MIAC, even though I felt I could have, and I wasn't named, anything. I wasn't named academic All-MIAC. I didn't have a great year. I didn't feel great about myself. But going to that event and being around my teammates and being around an athletic department as a whole, an athletic program that has so much fervor and so much just excitement. If that's the same thing. I just use a synonym. But just surrounding the entire program, we're all looking up and seeing Brandy Blattner and seeing James Green, seeing these athletes excel in what they do. It turned a corner for me. Instead of being bitter and jealous and mad at myself, it made me want to work harder. And yeah, we're 2 days removed. So we'll see if I actually do work harder. But I finally understand why we do this and why we attend these award ceremonies, because it does inspire. And if any little thing can inspire any of our athletes to be a little bit better, I think we should continue to do it. And although I don't love the name yet, I really do love the fact that we do it every year. So
yeah, I wish I could go, but had to broadcast some stuff.
Yeah, no, hey, that's what I said. We're both looking to get into broadcasting for the rest of our lives, and you never have one job.
I got to change our major.
you never have broadcasting. You never have one job in broadcasting. Andy, let me just see what he's saying because he will not. My ID no longer works. I can't get in. He's in front of Hendrickson. Oh, never mind. He went to the wrong place. We are actually in Toner. We're in Toner 14C. I kind of like this location better than St. Mary's. Fourth floor. It's probably it is a trek up there. It's probably better for our guests if they went to the right place, Mr. Andy Alleman. No worries though, because again, we are rolling. Let's recap what happened this weekend and this week. We're not going to talk about the men losing 4-0 to Loras. Loras is a great team, and we kind of knew going in that it was going to be a good game, and it was, I believe, until halftime.
0-0?
Yeah, it was 0-0 at halftime, and then they let it in. Loras plays, such a crazy brand of football that once, they drop it in so often, once they work you down, it's not good. They work you down to enough. Andy Alleman, what's up, buddy?
How are we doing, fellas?
We're back.
We're doing well.
Squeeze on in, Alec. Squeeze on in. But Alec, come on closer. We all gotta get in this.
You gotta hear this story.
What's up?
I roll into campus.
Yes.
And I forgot where Turner was.
Really?
I was in front of Hendrickson, and I was thinking Mary's Hall.
6 months.
Yes. Right? I was in front of Hendrickson, and I was waiting to get in, and then it hit me. I was like, this isn't Turner.
Yeah.
And here we are. So
this is Toner.
Very fast walking.
They're both on the ground.
I don't even know how that happened.
And you're not even out of breath, so you're still in shape. You look good.
I run like 10 miles a week.
Look at you.
Trying to stay in shape.
10 more than I run. And I'm a track athlete. How many miles do you run, Alec?
This summer, I was running 5 miles a day.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
When I got here. And...
Started eating peanut butter pretzel.
Yeah.
Hey, 5 miles is pretty good.
No, yeah, that is good. I'm proud of you. I didn't know that.
Tired.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, fun.
Absolutely. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. So we I don't know. You take the lead. Tell us what you want to talk about. Talk about yourself a little bit. Talk about your summer. Talk about AB. I don't really care.
Okay, we'll take it. Just a quick summer recap. Did some traveling. Went to the track and field national championships in Cleveland, Ohio in May. Watched the St. Mary's 4x1, David Kemper pole vault, Rachel Odie high jump, and Christian Bieber high jump. That was a ton of fun. Really enjoyed it. My dad's alumni and my mom's alumni, Eau Claire, the UW Eau Claire Blue Golds, brought home their first national title.
Whoa, no way.
Yep, they absolutely destroyed the field in the track and field national championships. That was a ton of fun to watch. I was really happy for them.
Happy to see someone take down lacrosse.
Yes,
It's always nice.
absolutely. And it was a tough position because I have one of my best friends is on the 4x1 for UWL, and they were in the finals. And if they literally would have got the baton around, they would have won.
Wow.
And they blew a hand off, and he got disqualified, so they weren't even All Americans.
What a bummer.
What a bummer. Yeah, but happy to see Eau Claire win.
Yeah.
So I did that. I traveled to Europe this summer with my girlfriend and her family. Saw the Women's World Cup final and the semifinal. So I was in Lyon to watch them play England and the Netherlands. Ton of fun to watch. I don't know if you guys kept up with it at all.
Yeah,
know.
oh, absolutely. Almost all of
Did
it.
you see Rose Lavelle?
What are you referencing?
The women's, she starts for the U.S.
No, I know her.
national
I know
team.
her. Yeah.
When she nutmegged, just how she played in general.
Oh, okay,
And then
yeah.
when she nutmegged that woman, that English woman, in, the game, I was going nuts. That was so
Semifinal?
fun.
Was that the
Yeah, it was
semifinal? Yeah.
semifinal.
Yeah, no.
Ton of fun. Saw Italy, saw France, saw Switzerland. My family's from Switzerland, so I got to see the motherland. Really cool stuff.
I just honestly don't know, and this might be kind of weird to ask, but what did the tickets run you for the World Cup, for the Women's World Cup?
That's a great question. They didn't. Her parents, I was lucky enough. Her parents bought them, and they're like, no questions about
Oh,
this. So
okay.
I have no idea.
Well, never mind. I bet I could Google it, but I
No.
thought I had an inside source. But
Nope,
it's okay.
sorry. Other than that, just got home, staying busy, managing our family, our co-owners of the local golf course over in Cochrane. So just been kind of managing that, working for my dad's friend, and staying busy. I'm gonna go to Viterbo in January, go get a master's in business administration, and see where that takes me. So that's the plan right now. That's the game plan.
Awesome.
Yes,
Sounds
yes.
good. And now maybe, I mean, if you're going to be in Viterbo, we could make this a bi-weekly thing. or something.
Crossover. Might as well.
Absolutely.
Might as
We
well.
can't take phone calls anymore. If you notice, there are no microphones in front of us.
That is,
We are
yeah.
not in a radio studio. It's kind
That's
of a bummer.
adjustment.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a bummer, but we feel better already.
It's fine.
I'm speaking
Hey,
for myself, but I feel better
Well,
already.
what you guys are doing is awesome. Like, think of how unique it is. Like, I guarantee you, there's no
True.
other student radio shows. Like, I think it's a pretty unique thing.
Hey, it's 100% unique at St. Louis.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
we are rolling. We are continuing. Okay, you had some takes. We had a long summer. We
Yep.
barely talked. It was
Yep.
kind of great for me. But what happened? Give me what happened this summer, or what's going on in the NFL? What has struck your interest?
What struck my interest, and I want to get this with you guys, is the crossover of the two biggest leagues in the U.S. sports, professional sports. Wow. NBA had a nutty summer. You guys saw that.
Awesome.
I am super stoked to watch the season. I can honestly say this year, I would want to watch like any game. Seriously, because of how competitively balanced it is. When Toronto took down Golden State and then Kawhi left that team, like balanced return to the NBA. Kevin Durant went over to the East. I think there's going to be a lot of parity, and I want to know what you guys think on this take. Has the NBA surpassed the NFL as the king of professional sports in the United States? I can make an argument for both, and I want to know what you guys think of it.
Not personal for me, but
No?
like personal, I love the NFL. I'm not an NBA fan.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I just don't. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't really have too much evidence like supporting it. I don't know. I think football's America's game.
Yeah. So the thing for me is the NBA is a different product than the NFL in a lot of pretty obvious ways. One of those being scarcity.
Mhm.
The NBA will never rate like the NFL because there are just more games. So overall, they probably have more viewers because they play 82 games and then they play an entire month
Absolutely.
of playoffs. And it
Absolutely.
is great in that those finals are awesome. And
Yeah.
I watched the final game and O'Sullivan's, a little shout out. That's where I was working. It was pretty fun. It was it was a pretty anticlimactic ending.
It sucked.
One of the worst ever, I would say.
Clay Blues Neo, that sucked.
Yeah, no. And a lot of things happened,
Yeah.
but a lot of things happened. Ooh, yeah, Captain Obvious. Thanks. I don't think the NBA will ever surpass the NFL in general.
Mhm.
Like Alec just said, it's America's game. there are only 16 weeks. of
NFL,
football.
every game matters.
NFL's
NBA,
true.
you could say half the season doesn't matter.
Yeah,
kinda.
Yeah, NFL owns a day of the week.
Mhm.
There are people who will choose to watch football instead of going to church.
Yep.
Like the church used to own Sunday. I think
owns
NFL
Sunday.
owns Sunday now. And so the NBA will never get to that
Mhm.
point
Yeah.
and that's just due to the scarcity.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit down and watch all 82 games as
Absolutely.
much as you want to tell yourself that you will. And because of that, I don't think the NBA can surpass the NFL.
Yeah. And I'll just take the counterpoint.
Yeah.
I really like what's been going on in the NBA because it's a players' league. Like,
Oh,
you
for
don't
sure.
see, you see them speaking up and standing up for what they believe in, whether it's been stuff with police violence and Colin Kaepernick or just I don't know, just that's an example of it. And they're not afraid to speak up. And you have like mega stars like LeBron James, who I would argue is the greatest and probably most popular professional sports player in like North America, period. Like, I don't think you can have anyone that could surpass him right now. And I just think, just it's going to be so competitive this year, just so much balance. I think every game is really going to matter. I really feel that.
For once
Yes.
there is balance. It actually
Yes.
feels like this
And
is
it
a
feels,
balanced league.
and you look at the West, I would say every team, but probably the Phoenix Suns and the Memphis Grizzlies has at least a decent shot making
Yeah.
the post. Even the Oklahoma City Thunder, who totally unloaded Russell Westbrook, Jeremy Grant, Paul George, they brought back Chris Paul.
Mhm.
And they got Danilo Gallinari, and they still have Steven Adams, and they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, sleeper pick for anyone who's listening and previewing some little fantasy basketball.
Fantasy basketball.
So yeah, that's kind of my take. I'm really, really excited for just the entire season. And Russell Westbrook, James Harden, like all the storylines are just playing together so well, and I think that it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
And the Bulls, sleeper pick for 8th seed.
Hey,
playoffs.
Kobe White.
Kobe
Big
White
on Kobe
is
White.
Dope. I really
Yeah.
love him.
Did
He's
you
got-
see the take where his friend got drafted and he was going nuts?
Yeah, he was
He's
just
so happy for him.
jovial.
Oh,
I
it
love
was
him. He's got
awesome.
an awesome smile. He's got great hair, and he
Yeah.
can also play basketball.
He
really
can
well.
play. He's really real.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I will tell you,
Yeah.
last year I watched maybe 10 NBA basketball games before the playoffs. Maybe 10. Christmas Day I watched the whole time. Halloween I watched the whole time. Like the big days
Yes,
I watched
absolutely.
NBA basketball. I might sit down and watch NBA basketball on a regular basis this
Yeah.
year, just for the sole reason of it feels like it matters this year. Last
Yeah.
year it didn't feel like that.
Yeah.
Until the end, when you realized, whoa, the Raptors are pretty good.
Yeah.
You saw this coming.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Interesting. Yeah. And the NFL, and like I'd say the NFL, it's popular, and don't get me wrong, it has its own day of the week, and no one could ever surpass that. Nothing can surpass that. But think about all the controversy you've got in the past.
Mhm.
This offseason alone, with the PI rule change, all the craziness with Antonio Brown, just everything, and all the, you still have the CTEs really big, the concussions, the player safety, and people are, arguing, does it ruin the game? Is it taking away what we love most, which is the violence of it? I don't know. I think I stand by the point that it's definitely closer. The gap is closer than it was before.
For
Quick
sure.
Super Bowl prediction on the spot. This is after your
Philadelphia, Kansas City.
Philadelphia.
Have you seen their roster?
I
Top to bottom, stacked.
Okay.
That's it. I like that
Okay.
one.
I have not heard Philadelphia from
I haven't
anybody.
either.
From
Hey,
anybody.
if Carson Wentz can play like he was before he got hurt and he stays healthy
and he
for
stays
once,
healthy.
yeah.
Jordan Howard can be good, dude.
Jordan Howard, no. So one last thing that you just said, Antonio Brown and the CTE thing. Now, I had a theory,
Yep.
and it was poached a little bit, but it was also incubated in my brain,
Yep.
that possibly, this is very speculative, and I'm, no accusations, but there's a possibility to me that this Antonio Brown stuff is head trauma.
Yeah.
And that he has a chemical misbalance in his brain due to the amount of concussions that he has probably experienced throughout his entire career. He was undersized as a high
Yeah.
school player. He was not highly touted as a collegiate athlete. He
Mhm.
was always undersized until he wasn't. He took a lot of hits
Yeah.
throughout his entire life to get where he is today. And then the Patriots signed him, and I realized, was I just duped by Antonio Brown?
I think
Did
we
he just
all.
do this
I
on
think we
purpose?
all might have been duped by Antonio.
Maybe.
I think we all
Maybe
might.
he
He's
had
gonna
this-
be good, man.
I'm so excited. When I saw that news go, I couldn't have been. I was over the moon.
Yeah.
Patriots are my AFC team this year. It's going to be Patriots and Bears in the Super Bowl. The Patriots are going to destroy the Bears, and I'm going to be sad, but I'm going to be happy to see the Patriots do it because the Patriots have always been my AFC team. And Antonio Brown receiving passes from Tom Brady is just it's a dream.
I mean, do you guys remember Randy Moss Tom Brady to Randy Moss in that 07 season? They're undefeated, dude. It's gonna be like that.
I had this weird memory from that season. Not only crying when they lost in the Super Bowl and my parents being like, we're going to buy you Madden so that you stop crying, which was fun. But for some reason, my dad, I have this memory of driving to school at St. Vincent Fair when I was, it was 2007. So I was 8.
Yeah.
And my dad just marveling at the fact that Tom Brady doesn't miss. And he's just like, he doesn't miss. He missed 3 receivers yesterday and it was all dropped. And he's so perfect and accurate. And for some reason, that conversation sticks in my brain more than any other.
And it's funny you say it because I have one too. When I was on my way home from Winona to my house to go watch that Super Bowl, my dad's like, you know what? I think the Patriots are going to dominate them. But if there's any team in the NFL that has a chance, it's the Giants because of that front four, putting pressure on them and just dropping back. And it's happened.
Okay. Well, Andy Alleman, it was great
Absolutely
to see you again.
Fellas, it's always a pleasure.
I honestly, I did miss you as much as I joke, as much as I rant.
Yeah, of course.
You were awesome last year. You helped build the foundations when this guy over here was winning tennis championships.
Anything
wins all year.
So I want to thank you. And maybe we will have you on the squeeze. Hopefully we can get some phone calls so that you don't have to make your way all the way over to Winona.
No worries.
But yeah, thanks for sitting in. We will be right back to talk to our other boy, Frankie Baccalars, who is going to give us some college football takes. He had a crazy one about Wisconsin that I think is ridiculous, and we're going to hear him out. So thanks, Andy. We'll be right back. Thank you all for listening to The Squeeze. You are listening to The Squeeze on YouTube under the channel name Anthony Pasquazi. I'm sitting in with my producer, Alec Rude, my weekly guest and contributor, Frankie Baccalars. You can follow me at _Anthony Pass on Twitter. You can follow Alec at AlecRude10 on Twitter. You can follow Frankie at
Frankie.Baccalars on Twitter, I think.
I put you on the spot.
I'm pretty sure it's
I put you on the spot. So don't be afraid.
Serious inquiries only.
Lean into the microphone.
Serious inquiries only.
All the time, lean into the microphone. You got to be
Stay forward.
On-air presence.
I'm not as professional.
We're crafting you into a sports
to be the next Stephen A.
You are the next Stephen A.
The next Stephen A.
The resemblance.
What's your major? Sports management.
Yeah.
Sports management. And Dean Beckman told him maybe pick up a little bit of broadcasting
He
journalism.
He did.
Yeah, after one appearance. So
Mhm.
Dean Beckman, shout out to him. He's done a lot for all three of us. And I think
Yeah, he's a great guy.
he is an awesome guy. He gives us a lot of opportunities, and we're all very thankful for him. Enough kissing up. Brown nose.
Trying to get an A.
You're trying to get an A.
Trying to get an A.
I got an A last year. So first, before your crazy take, anything struck you, I mean, as nuts yesterday? I think the only good game pretty much, there were two.
Michigan Army.
Michigan Army.
I mean, that was crazy.
Let's go. Respond to it. What happened? What happened, college football expert?
I mean, obviously, it was pretty like last week. A lot of blowouts. A lot of FBS teams playing FCS teams, and but Army, Michigan, man, double overtime. Army gave them a run for the money. I think Michigan's 7 in the country.
Mhm.
Probably not anymore,
No.
but they were 7 in the country. Double overtime. I remember not watching it because I didn't care. Army, Michigan, who cares? And then someone told me, they're like, hey, like this game's in overtime. And then hey, this game's in double overtime. And I was hoping Army was going to pull it out because, Wisconsin, Big Ten champs this year,
Yeah.
to me, at least.
Okay. Wisconsin, how did they do? They won by 60?
61-0.
Who did they play?
Central Michigan.
Okay, so that's fine. I think Alec and I differ on this. When you play a crappy team and you kick their butt, I'm still impressed by it because there are teams that don't kick the butts of teams that they should kick the butts of. There is something to say for a good team that can kick.
Yeah.
If you win by more than 20,
Yeah.
if you win by 60,
Yeah.
I don't see a difference. Why? Different teams could put their backups in whenever they want.
Yeah.
They could have new people playing. The other team could be trying new people.
That's
if
true.
you win by more than 20, you've proven your point.
Okay, I get it. I understand.
Alabama, their third strings in last night when I was watching. New Mexico State drove down the field and got a touchdown. That's a 7-point difference.
You're right. No, I get it.
That's
It's
my
case by
take.
case. But to me, if you score 62, it's still impressive. I don't care who you.
I'm with Squeeze on that one. I mean, I think it's all Division I football. These guys are all really good athletes.
Yeah.
If you're beating these all, in high school, they were all state, all American, whatever, and you're still beating them by 60, 61. It's just D1 football. It's still good. I mean,
Yeah. Finally, some derision. Derision. Big words, Squeeze. It's way too early for big words. But we're finally differing on opinions, Alec. It's taken us a year and a half, but we're finally breaking. I think it's the roommate thing. I think you're getting angry with me. I think I
already am.
I have some bad habits that you don't agree with. Peeing in the shower being one of them. We don't have to talk about that every show, but we probably will. So realistically, is this a joke? Is this a meme? Or do you honestly say Wisconsin can win the Big Ten?
No, genuinely, I believe Wisconsin is at least going to be in the championship game. I think they can win. I think they could beat what's probably going to be Ohio State in the Big Ten championship
They'll
game.
lose to Ohio State. That's my take. Lose to them in the regular season and in the conference final.
What does Wisconsin do well?
They run the ball. It's running back you. Every year they have that running back, Jonathan Taylor. They have Melvin Gordon, James White. It's running back you. They run the ball. They have a beautiful offensive line.
They do.
I mean, I think their last 8 starting offensive linemen are in the NFL now or something like that. Like it's just some crazy statistic like that. They're just fundamental.
Yeah.
They're fundamentally good. They're not flashy.
And I think that works sometimes until you play Ohio State, who is flashy, fundamental, and more talented.
Well,
Justin
We'll
Fields
see.
is playing
We'll
too
see.
good.
Wasn't it
Fields.
how many years ago? Another memory from childhood. When's the last time that Wisconsin was in the conference championship? Didn't they get absolutely torched?
It was my senior year of high school, so 2 years ago.
Penn
They
State.
played Ohio State.
Well, it was Penn State the year before that.
The year before that,
Yeah,
they played
Penn
Penn State. Then my senior year of high school 2 years ago, they played Ohio State and just got absolutely torched. Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen again this year, probably.
No, I don't think so.
I think it probably will. Ohio State is so much better than. Okay, this is crazy. To me, Ohio State is leagues above the rest of the Big Ten,
Mhm.
and then Clemson and Alabama are leagues above Ohio
NCAA.
State. I mean,
It's just the whole NCAA.
it kind of hurts the product a little bit, I think. Personally, it's great to have one villain, but when you have two villains, I don't love it because then half of your tournament is villains. And then those two villains probably are going to meet in the national championship game. And then you have two villains. So who's the villain if they're both villains? I think Clemson is awesome. I like Dabo Sweeney a lot more than I like Nick Saban, but is it going to get to a point where these two programs are going to hurt college football? Will that happen? I mean, you're a fan of Clemson. What do you think?
No.
No.
You can even see Clemson's recruiting class. Their best recruit in this recent class, he's ranked like 43rd or
Okay.
34. I can't remember the number. Like in the whole class.
Okay.
The year before that, they had 2 D linemen ranked in the top 5. Like people will start. Clemson won't keep.
So you think that there's going to be some regression
Yes.
in the Clemson program?
After Trevor Lawrence is gone, Clemson will
Okay.
go down a little.
Okay.
They could still make the playoffs because
I mean,
of their schedule.
They might win 3 national championships in a row with Trevor Lawrence.
But right after that,
that dude
Very
is
possible.
That dude is something.
I think after that it's going to start
Okay.
evening out.
Okay.
And Ohio State and Georgia, they're coming.
They're coming.
I think Ohio State will make the playoff. I think Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, Bama make the playoffs.
And remember, Michigan and Texas, they're coming too.
No, I hate them.
And what do you think? Do you think that
I think-
Clemson and Alabama are going to start hurting?
I think
college
we
football?
got a little bit of a NBA situation on
Okay.
us. You know, the Golden State Warriors, the
Yeah.
the Lakers,
The
super
LeBron.
team. Yeah, I think people are not liking the NBA anymore because it's the same teams every year that are just dominating. I think the same thing's happening in college football because Alabama and Clemson, if they win every year, they're just going to keep getting the top recruits who are going to come in for 2 years and go to the NFL. Then they're going to get the next top recruits for 2 or 3 years and come to the NFL. And it's just a vicious cycle.
Mhm.
And I mean, what goes up must come down. Alabama may come down one day. Maybe they'll have a bad season, not get the same recruits. But I think it's going to be a while. I think Alabama and maybe even Clemson are going to be on the top for very near and far future.
I think the semis this year are going to be as good as any year. I think Georgia and Ohio State have the capability to beat Clemson and Bama.
As long as UCF makes it and Oklahoma doesn't, I will be happy
UCF wins this next week, they'll go undefeated probably.
because they have Stanford this week.
Who's not? I don't think.
Are they still top 25?
They are still top 25. I
Well, they
believe.
just lost, so then I
Okay,
guess
they won't be. Who'd they lose to?
USC.
USC. They lost to USC. That's awesome. Do you know what felt really sweet? Syracuse losing by 40. That was awesome.
Clemson plays them next week. That's going to be about like 60.
Oh gosh, it's good.
Maybe not. It's
I
at Syracuse.
like Syracuse basketball, but
Mhm.
I just something I just hate.
A
Syracuse
fun fact
football.
about me when I was little, and every little kid has like bandwagon fans.
Yeah.
I was actually a really big Syracuse fan.
Yeah.
When I was in like middle school, because I read Jim Boeheim's book.
Oh,
So I loved Syracuse. I actually have still the Syracuse sweatshirt in my room right now. That's a lot small on me now. I was in 7th grade when I got it.
that's some advanced reading for a
But-
middle schooler, Frankie. You were on track for
Smart guy.
you were on track for Harvard, and then you ended up at St. Mary's.
St. Mary's University of Minnesota, sports management major.
Nothing wrong with that. I think Harvard.
I was on a
St. Mary's.
steady incline to be president, and then we dropped off once I hit honors geometry sophomore year of high school.
You never know.
Honors geometry, that's what killed me. Sophomore year of high school, my confidence in school went to the toilet.
It's okay.
But,
Happens to all of us. Any crazy predictions for this coming weekend before you get on out of here?
I haven't really looked at the schedule. To be honest.
you don't have to.
There's no really good game.
There still
mean,
isn't. We're still 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Iowa and Iowa State is college game day.
Yeah, that's not great.
It's not.
Iowa, though, my brother goes there. I'm starting to like them. They're starting to grow on me. Could you see Iowa possibly challenging Wisconsin this year?
They always kind of give them a run for their money. Iowa's coming up. I personally hate Iowa
Mhm.
because I had a high school football coach when I was in high school. It's redundant, but and he's from Iowa. Loved Iowa all the time. All he talked about was Iowa, and I got very sick of it. So I want to see Iowa fall whenever I can. But
Tight end you, right?
yeah, I mean, you gotta respect Iowa, just the farm boys.
Farm
They
boys.
come in and work hard. But
That's Wisconsin, same thing. Well, thank you.
exactly.
Full prediction. Either Pittsburgh beats Penn State or Kentucky upsets Florida. One of those will happen.
One of them. What if both happen? Then you're wrong.
They won't happen.
Okay.
One will happen.
One
I'm
will
still trying to. I don't think Pittsburgh will come close. Kentucky will upset Florida this week.
Okay.
I'm calling it right
Kentucky upsetting Florida. That sounds good to me.
now. It's in Kentucky.
Frankie Bacalars, thank you so much. This was what CFB with Frankie B at 10:50.
10:50.
I like it. I like
All
it.
right.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah, thanks for having
CFB,
me.
Frankie B.
I love it.
10:50.
I love
Awesome.
it.
Yeah. We'll be right back. What are we talking about? We're finally going to talk about St. Mary's sports. We have no more guests lined up. We're not talking about anything else. Maybe the Cubs, maybe Antonio Brown a little bit more, but primarily St. Mary's sports. So stick around if you want to hear some Cardinal soccer talk, some Cardinal, golf talk for once, maybe even a little bit of tennis talk about the women's team. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to the squeeze. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquesi, produced by Alec Rude on YouTube. Under the channel name Anthony Pasquesi. If you're watching and you have not hit that subscribe button yet, please do so. It helps us out a ton and it makes me feel really good. Also, hit that like button and comment if you want to. If you want to disagree with us, Nick Larson does that quite often. Pretty much every day that I go to his office, he heckles me. It feels great to be heckled by one of your coaches every single day. But that's the tough love that you get here at St. Mary's. It's what makes us all great. We're all the little brother of everybody else in the MIAC. We need that tough love. We need to be, tough skin. Okay, have you ever been up to the Sugarloaf?
No.
Dude, I hadn't until last Sunday after the squeeze. I had never been up there. I was kind of afraid. I didn't know if there was a path. I didn't really know how it works. Just fear basically is why I never went up there. It is the best thing to do in Winona, Minnesota. And it's easy. It's a 15-minute walk up a paved trail practically. You get up there, breathtaking views. I mean, there's a little ledge that you can climb up to if you're feeling adventurous and you want to be kind of, you want to feel it in your chest a little bit. Go any time of day. We went at night. It was still awesome. I'm sure sundown is just beautiful. Sunrise would probably be the best time to go. But if you have never been to the Sugarloaf, this is not exactly a hot take or a new thing. It's what Winona is known for pretty much, is that big old rock up there. It's everything it's cracked up to be. You look at it from down below and you're just that's a big rock. What's so cool about big rock? You get up there, it's 100 feet tall. I mean, you feel absolutely tiny. You're super high up in the air on this pretty large bluff. And you're 100 feet below the top of another giant rock. I could gush about it for probably 10 minutes, but you need to do it. Everyone needs to do it. If you haven't been up there, it makes Garvin Heights look like nothing. I mean, you've probably been to Garvin Heights. Yeah. Who hasn't? Everyone's been to Garvin Heights. The Sugarloaf is better. And it's not nearly as hard as I thought it would be to get up there. It honestly took 15 minutes. I was in jeans and not great shoes, and it still took me 15 minutes. I went up with my friends Nolan and Teresa, who designed the Squeeze logo. We got to plug it as much as we can. We can advertise now. We can advertise on YouTube because we're no longer on the radio. So you can go on Redbubble and look up the Squeeze, and you can actually buy more merchandise than simply these Squeeze t-shirts. Now that we don't have phones, we can't really give away t-shirts anymore to our listeners, which is a bit of a bummer. But you can buy all the Squeeze merch that you want. All of the proceeds go to Teresa Robleski, who is a starving artist, as most artists are starving until they're not. That's kind of how it works. So anything that you can do, they have stickers, notebooks, pencil cases, t-shirts, hoodies that are pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot. So just go on Redbubble, look up the Squeeze, click on her account, Teresa Robleski, and help out a starving artist, and also rep some Squeeze gear. We can, look at this, we can advertise now. Doesn't it feel kind of good?
I never knew that rule.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So KSMR, here's a little insider knowledge. KSMR is a different type of license from any other radio station. It's a student run or like grade 1 license. So we don't have to follow a lot of FCC regulations because we're not run by a professional organization. It's kind of like a junior radio station. But what that means is that we cannot advertise, or we could not advertise any products, any events that had money. It was kind of weird. So like we could do Light Up the Night, which was awesome because it was a free event. It was a campus event. But now we could get sponsors. We could go to Blooming Grounds and say, hey, Blooming Grounds, you want to sponsor us? And we could do that. So maybe we will.
I think they'd say yes.
I don't think so, because we have, we do have quite a large following on the radio. Millions listening on the radio. It probably would have been some good pub. But now that we don't have the radio anymore, we don't have the millions of listeners. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work. We do have some things in the works. We're not really going to talk about any of the things that we have in the works, but just know that we hope this is temporary. We hope that this YouTube thing is temporary. We're trying to get some things. We're trying to get some things going. I feel a lot better about this week than I did about last week. I hope you feel the same. Last week was tough. I think it was a combination of rust, of the no radio station, of being in a weird location. I don't know why I picked it up there. But today, we're rolling. I think we feel a lot better about each other. I like you more than I did last week. I was a little angry with you, a little curt, as as you could say. But there are things in the works. And gosh, I'm so sappy. What is going on? Why am I so sappy? The support that we've both gotten from athletes, coaches, from Donnie, from everybody has really been, it's meant a lot to me. And I don't want to start crying because I'm kind of getting it. I'm getting there. You might have to start talking. This is something that I love doing more than anything. And for it to be taken away, seemingly taken away, was a disaster for me. So to hear, Coach Foley, gosh, this is brutal. To hear Coach Foley and Coach Fano and Niels and, everybody say that they missed the Squeeze and that they're going to do everything that they can to help us out really has meant a lot. So thank you. And we're going to go to break because I need to stop crying like a little baby. But thank you for any and all support that you give us. Yeah, we'll be right back. This is brutal. Okay. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquesi and Alec Rude. After that short little intermission on YouTube, channel name Anthony Pasquesi. You get the gist. @_Anthony Pass @Alec Rude 10. Follow us on Twitter. We try to retweet fun things. We try to say original things sometimes. Original things are hard to do. It's very hard to create original thought in this day and age because you're just inundated with so much content. It's ridiculous. You can't have your own thoughts, but that's what's so great about talking about St. Mary's sports, because no one talks about St. Mary's sports like we talk about St. Mary's sports. This is courtesy of Donnie Nadeau. The women beat Marion 3-0, bringing their record to 2-0. Fond du Lac.
On the lock, yep.
Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Jordan Matthews and Mary Loy are proving to be a rather lethal 1-2 combination for the St. Mary's University women's soccer team. Matthews and Loy, who scored the Cardinals 2 goals in their season-opening 2-1 win over Edgewood a week ago, were at it again. St. Mary's non-conference game against Marion on Friday. Matthews scored the game's first goal off an assist from Loy and added her second of the game with 11 seconds remaining in regulation, as the Cardinals pushed their season-opening winning streak to 2-0 with a 3-0 win over the Marion Sabres. Matthews, who scored her first collegiate goal to open the scoring against Edgewood, what a fun little thing that was at it again against the Sabres as the freshman broke a 0-0 deadlock with less than 15 minutes remaining in the first half off an assist from Lloyd to give the Cardinals a 1-0 advantage heading into the break. Kendall Archer pushed the Cardinals' lead to 2-0 with her first of the season early in the second half, and Matthews closed out the scoring with her second of the game in the waning seconds. Gabriella Peterson picked up her first shutout of the season and 8th of her career, stopping both Marion shots, while Sabres goalie Kylie Lang finished with 6 saves. The Cardinals, 2-0 overall, are back in action today, heading to Ripon, Wisconsin for an 11 o'clock non-conference game against Ripon, which is actually getting underway right now. Maybe if you want to pull up the stream, that'd be awesome. I did ask Nicole Thompson to come on the show. She's a freshman. She's the fastest girl on the soccer field, and she made quite the impression to me. I asked her to be on the show and then quickly realized that they were playing at the exact time the show was airing. So 2 weeks, Nicole Thompson will hopefully make an appearance on the Squeeze. Have you changed at all a little bit? You were a little sour, a little cold on this team last week. Did this 3-0 win over Marion do anything for you?
If it's just like the guys' team, the guys won 5-0. Marion,
they're not great.
No.
Yeah.
So no.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree. This doesn't do much for me. I will say the MIAC has been ridiculous this season in non-conference play. On the men's side, 24-5-4, and the women's, they've been 22-11-1. It's non-conference can teach you a lot, but it also can teach you nothing. It's kind of a weird situation. It teaches you a lot about your own team, but it doesn't teach you how your team is going to compare to the rest of the conference. I still think they have a chance. I think they have a chance to make the playoffs. I really like this front line. Hopefully Cassie Arriaga can get healthy. I don't think she played. She's had a sprained foot. But this front line, Mary Lloyd, Jordan Matthews, Cassie Arriaga, when she's healthy, they're super physical. They're super fast. And they're bigger. They're bigger than everybody else. They're so tall. I mean, they have, 3 girls over 5'10"?
Yeah, they're huge.
4 girls over 5'10"? They are a large team. And that helps a lot. Just in everything. You can body your opponents. And if you combine speed with that size, that's the perfect equilibrium. And I think that they're getting there with wingers like Nicole Thompson and like Rodriguez. What's her first name? Melina Rodriguez. You have those wingers that are just lightning quick. They're putting a lot together. They have a senior goalie. The stars could align. I see a lot of good things happening with this team. Of course, in what's coach's name?
Cassidy?
Coach Cassidy's career, he has one MIAC victory. So it will be a change of pace to say that they're going to make the playoffs and be the 6th seed and win probably 6 games in the MIAC. But it's a change of pace that I honestly could see happening.
They're playing on grass right now.
They're playing on grass. Oh,
I saw them practicing earlier, but yeah, the ball I'm watching right now. The ball it's moving a little slow.
Okay.
Yeah, doesn't seem like the nicest field.
Ripon, Wisconsin. I heard not a lot of great things about Ripon, Wisconsin.
I think they played them last year. I can't remember what the score was, but I'm pretty sure it was last year. Go to 2018.
Women's soccer. Googling while we're on the air is always a great idea. History against Ripon. They have 7 wins and 1
Maybe
loss.
they didn't play him.
Last year they won 5-3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maddie Walrath get a red card.
Oh, Maddie Walrath did get a red card. She was in town for alumni weekend. It was great to see her. That's the other thing about Best in the Nest. It lands on alumni weekend. So a lot of former athletes come and get to see their, past teammates and get to see their coaches and get to see the squeeze, which is always fun. So I've definitely warmed to the Best in the Nest award ceremony. What happened? Did we score?
Mary Loy.
Who was it? Mary Loy assisted. Anybody?
I don't know who got it.
Okay, awesome. So scoring for the Cardinals. What is she? Number 9?
Mary?
Yeah, Mary
I
Loy.
don't know.
I don't know. Whatever number she is, Mary Loy. I said it wrong in the first game at home because this dingus or somebody
I didn't.
told me that
I
Quinn
might have said
McGranigan
that.
scored. Mary Loy scored. I walked up to Quinn for a post-game interview and I said, what was it like to score the game-winning goal? And she said, I didn't. Mary Loy scored the game-winning goal. A little bit embarrassing. You live and you learn. If I was paying attention, I would have seen that Mary Loy scored the goal. But 1-0 right now. What time? It doesn't have a clock, does it?
No.
Well, we're 16 minutes in, so probably 15th minute.
Yeah.
1-0. All right, let's take a look at St. Mary's schedule coming forward. Wednesday, they play University of Wisconsin Superior. They've pretty much dominated them over the course of their playing histories. And then next Saturday, they play Martin Luther, which is another UMac school.
They should go 5-0, I think.
I think they could.
St. Kate's is tough, though.
St. Kate's is tough. Gustavus is not as tough.
They're okay.
Yeah, they're okay. Stout, Augsburg. Gosh, Ashley St. Aubin is just remarkable. What is with Augsburg and having these?
I won't be here for that one. Shoot.
Why not? Where are you going?
I have a tournament.
Oh, you got another tournament. But what is with these Augsburg teams and just having the best players in the
They're up in
conference?
the cities, man.
By far.
They recruit. They have all the top Minnesota players
Yeah.
right by them, man.
I guess so. Booker and something crazy about Augsburg. They're the second smallest school.
Yeah.
They're our size pretty much.
Mhm.
Augsburg and St. Mary's are very similarly sized, very similarly financially supported. So it's
Hockey's the one that started that because hockey's been dominant,
yeah.
and now
I went to the doubleheader basketball men's women's game at Augsburg last season. That dome, man. I'm a fan of the dome.
it's in a nice place.
We were all a fan of the dome. Me and you were both a fan of the dome. But it's pretty cool. It's on their football field,
Mhm.
which is what an inventive idea. Instead of having to put up an entire ice arena, spend $100 million on that, you just spend $1 million on a dome that you can put up and put down.
Yeah.
It's a great use of
Good
space.
idea.
They got to get inventive. It's like Wrigley Field. You got to get inventive. It's like Chicago. You can't just build expansive campuses like you can at St. Mary's. I mean, we could go deep into the Bluffs if we ever got to the size
I
of
got the money for
St.
that.
Thomas. We don't have the money, nor do we have the drive. I don't think we want to be St. Thomas because then you might get kicked out of the MIAC. You never know.
Yeah.
Where are we? That was a tangent. We're getting off on tangents today. That's what's going on. That's why it
You're
feels
in
so
women's
good.
soccer.
Women's soccer, they play University of Wisconsin Superior on Wednesday. They play Martin Luther on Saturday. Like you said, they could easily go 5-0-0. That happened last year. I think they won their first 3. They may have finished non-conference 4-1, and then they
No.
didn't win any conference games. They won 1. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think it will. You beg to differ, but that's what this is all about. Debate. We come by it honestly.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman in
No.
this situation. Speaking of, my gosh, Max Kellerman is an idiot. I had to look at the camera for that because he is. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter. I think you did. I think we talked about it. He said that track athletes
I didn't see this.
are not athletes.
Really?
He said that track athletes are not athletes. Verbatim said that track athletes are failed basketball and football players. That's what he said. Max Kellerman, you're a dummy. I'm a little biased because I am a track athlete. And I am one of those track athletes that ran track because I sucked at other sports. There are 100 sprinters that no NFL player would beat in a race. That's not a failed NFL player. That's somebody who's remarkable at another sport. How does that make you not an athlete because you can't play football? I run track. I can't play tennis. So does that mean I'm a failed tennis athlete and I just decided to run track instead? You play tennis instead of football. So does that mean you're a failed football player because you play tennis? It's this is why I hate ESPN. This is why I hate debate shows. This is why I love sports radio, because all it is just soundbite, inflammatory statement, hot take, commercial break. That's all it is. There's no backing behind it. There's no reason. Like, why did Max Kellerman wake up and just say, I'm going to say the best athletes in the world are not even athletes? That's basically what he was saying. And you can debate whether they're the best athletes in the world based on your definition of athleticism. A lot of people say that athleticism combines both speed, agility, verticality, and hand-eye coordination and knowledge. But to me, athleticism is speed and power and vertical. Like, it's just what you can do with your body. That's what athleticism is to me, which is why I believe that track athletes are the best athletes in the world. And they are athletes, period.
I never saw that, and that's a bold thing to say, I would say.
Yeah, it got to track Twitter. Track Twitter was not happy. Track Twitter was not happy. And one of his arguments was that you don't have to think. You don't have to think about anything as a track athlete. And this leads actually into cross country. So we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna say why that relates to Max Kellerman. Again, Donnie Nadeau, always working. Donnie Nadeau, always working. St. Mary's Sports Information Director and friend of the show. Winona, Minnesota. It may have been their first meet of the season, but the St. Mary's University of Minnesota cross-country teams looked to be in mid-season form Saturday afternoon at the St. Mary's Alumni Open. And Isaiah Olsom and Danielle Frankie were leading the mid-season charge. Olsom placed 5th overall in leading the Cardinal men to a second-place team finish, while Frankie was the first SMU woman across the line, 7th overall, and fueling a third-place team showing. Luther won the men's race with 18 points, followed by St. Mary's 53, Upper Iowa 89, and the St. Mary's Alumni 92. Luther completed the team sweep by winning the women's event with 26 points, while Upper Iowa was second, 43, St. Mary's was third, 71, and the SMU Alumni went fourth, 98. Something to teach you about cross country, because you have been teaching me about tennis. Cross country is a lot like golf, in which lowest score wins.
I knew that.
You have top 5. Well, okay, whatever. You have your top 5 runners are your scorers. So if you finish 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you add up all those numbers and you get 9, 12, 14, 15. You get 15 points. So that's the best amount of points that you could possibly get in cross country. Whoever has the lowest score wins the meet. Olsom toured the 4-mile course in 22 minutes, 21 seconds to pace the Cardinal men, with Tanner Morris and Jordan Malachowski close behind, posting times of 22:39 and 22:41 respectively. Axel Daode finished his first collegiate race in 23 minutes, 3 seconds, followed by John Meaden and Caden McCartney. Caden McCartney, some of the best hair on campus. He's the one who looks like that Jesus guy. Frankie recorded a 5-kilometer time of 21:43 to lead the Cardinal women's charge, with Anna Marink adding a 22:27 and Anna Swanson, freshman, finishing in 23:04. Madeline Bolig, 25:21. Julia Van Watermeulen, best name on the team, 25:51. And Emma Reary, 26:23. Amelia Molly Sweet, 26:49. And Rachel Simon, 29:16, rounded out the Cardinal lineup. The Cardinals are back in action on September 20th to the 21st, with a portion of the squad heading to South Bend, Indiana. That is pretty sweet, to take part in the National Catholic Invitational, while the rest of the teams will head to Northfield, Minnesota, to compete in Carleton's Running of the Cows, which is offensive a little bit, but nevertheless.
That's really good alumni. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun. There was quite a few of them. I think there were 6 or 7 men, 6 or 7 women. I mean, that's a team. That's a cross-country team. So it was fun to see them out there. I wish I could have learned their names before I did the PA announcing. And I had a lot of fun doing it. I was also the DJ. So
Really?
yeah, people were loving my music.
That's sweet.
What do you think we finished the first race with? What song do you think we finished with?
I don't.
Dun 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 dun. Chariots of Fire. Of course we did. Could you finish with anything?
I
Anything
don't.
else?
That was not
Probably
the
not.
first thing that would come to my head.
Yeah, but the reason that we went into this was because Max Kellerman, one of his talking points was that track athletes don't have to think. You're wrong. That's ridiculous. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. There's so much muscle memory and strategy that goes into the cross country side and the distance side of being a track athlete. And that's something that I want to discuss with you because you might not know it. I didn't really even think about it, but I saw these guys and women warming up for their race with the sole purpose of running 4 miles as fast as you can. The mental fortitude that's required to do that, to me, is impressive. It's absolutely impressive. Track is the only sport in which our meets and our competition is also a workout. Like it's no different than a workout. Other than that, you're going 100% all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I do not have that mental fortitude to walk into a meet and be like, yeah, I'm running the mile today. I'm so happy about it. It's going to go great. You know, like I can't do that. If I'm running the mile for some reason, I hope it never happens. I would dread it for a week. And there's no way I'd be able to get myself in a mental space to run 4 laps around a track as fast as I could. I would jog the whole thing and then sprint the last 200 meters because that's just how my brain works. The amount of technique and thought that goes into a mile race or a 2-mile race at an elite level like the Olympics, there's some races where you have 4 athletes that go out right from the start and they break a world record, and that's the strategy. You know, you just stay with the lead pack. There are some races where you're a minute off of the world record pace for 3/4 of the race, and then you just pick it up and run a 400. I mean, there's so much. It's all based on what your opponent is doing. It's all about mind games. It's all about what you do better. Maybe you have a better kick than the next guy, but that next guy has more long distance speed than you do. There's so much that goes into it, and it's very ignorant for a national broadcaster of his clout, you know, to say that these guys don't have to think. There's no technique involved. There's no strategy involved. It really did hurt me. I took offense to it. And watching my first cross country meet in a while yesterday, it made me sit back and realize these guys are athletes. And if you disagree, you can come talk to the Squeeze.
I wish I could debate with you, but I know nothing about track and cross country, so I can't really say anything.
That's fine. And if you want to, I'm grandstanding for the cross country team, and Nick Larson, hopefully he's watching. I'm doing it for you. No, I'm doing it because it's honestly the truth, and it kind of hurts
That's
me.
not fair to those athletes.
It isn't. It's just, it was not a very smart thing to say. We're going to talk about the St. Mary's men's soccer team coming up after the break. You're listening to The Squeeze. I was a little worried that we weren't going to make it to noon, but it's 11:30, and it's looking like we are probably going to make it to noon.
St. Mary just had a breakaway.
Almost. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Squeeze. You are listening to The Squeeze with Anthony Pasquesi and Alec Rude on YouTube under the channel name Anthony Pasquesi. If you haven't already, thank you to the 9 of you who've been watching the whole show. It feels like we've retained an audience almost the entire time. So thank you very much. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and always, we love your comments. We love your disagreements, anything that you have. Put it on in the chat, and we will talk about it. What we're talking about right now, St. Mary's men's soccer. Another exciting team. They did lose to Loras. We talked about it a little bit earlier. They lost to Loras 4-0. A team that will be nationally ranked by the end of the year. Perennially nationally ranked.
Votes right now.
They have
They're
votes.
right outside.
Well, I think by the end of the year they'll
They
go.
could.
Yeah, they will. Again, Donnie Nato was Madison, Wisconsin. The trend continues. For the third time in as many games, the St. Mary's University men's soccer team played a game that ended in a shutout. And for the second time in those 3 games, it was the Cardinals who came out on the winning end of the final score. St. Mary scored a pair of second-half goals, the first by Robbie Sobczak and the second by Josh Balsiger, as the Cardinals dealt host Edgewood a 2-0 non-conference setback Saturday evening. After a scoreless first half in which St. Mary's held a 9-2 advantage in shot attempts and a 2-1 edge in shots on goal, the Cardinals finally broke the deadlock 12 minutes into the second half as Sobczak netted his first of the season to give SMU a 1-0 advantage. An advantage that doubled 3 minutes later when Balsiger found the back of the net for the second time this season to give the Cardinals a 2-0 cushion. And 2 goals was more than enough with goalkeepers Jimmy Perreault and Sam Morris between the pipes for the Cardinals, as both Perreault and Morris made 1 save. Perreault's in the first half and Morris is in the second, in recording the shutout. Edgewood goalkeeper Brendan Martin, meanwhile, finished with 4 saves. After back-to-back road games, the Cardinals 2-1 overall return home for the first of 2 straight home games, finally. Wednesday, hosting Carroll in a 7 p.m. non-conference matchup at Okremovich Field. Okremovich. I'm the PA announcer. I still don't know.
I always look at that
I think it's
before I
Okremovich.
start
It's
announcing.
Okremovich, right?
I have it. I have the
It's
pronunciation.
not
on here.
Okremovich. It's not Okremovich, like it looks like.
Yeah, it's Oak something.
Is it? Is it Okremovich?
It's Oak.
I don't think so. I think it's Okremovich.
It's Oak something.
Whatever. We'll figure it
I
out.
remember.
We'll figure it out eventually. It's not whatever. We need to learn it.
It starts with Oak. I know that.
It's important to get these things right. It's just such a hard word.
Oak.
Oh, okay. Let's just give the spelling for those of you who've never seen it. OchrymowYcz. It just looks like nothing. It looks Okremovich.
That's for sure Oak.
I think it's Okremovich. Oh, okay. We need to stop talking about this. Where is this going? It's great to see Robbie Sobczak and Josh Balsiger get back in the scoring column. It's great to see the team get back in the win column. And Kyle Lichtenegger, who did hurt his ribs yesterday, told me, he made an observation. He said, we had 3 shutouts all of last year. We already have 2 this year, which, with the whole goalie situation is making the job kind of difficult for Coach Corbin.
3 different ones.
All 3 of these goalies, Mikey Maniac did give up all 4 goals against Loras. Loras, again, is a great team, and they're hard to defend. It's either they're on or they're not. There's no in between. You're either going to go 2 overtimes with them like you did last year and lose by 1, or you're going to lose by 4. It's just how it works. It's hard to describe because I don't necessarily know soccer that well, but they play such a style of soccer that you're just not used to. They basically just dump the ball and they let their guys go run after it. So if their guys are faster than your guys, which in this case they were, they're going to win 4-0. Last year they weren't, and it was 1-0 because they can't control the ball. They just launch it and pray, basically. It's a fun brand of
I like
soccer.
it. It
it's-
helps you recruiting and
it's-
get the fast guys.
Yeah, no, it's ugly. I don't think it's necessarily pretty. You don't see a lot of juggling and dribbling, but it's okay. Different strokes for different folks. Okay.
Thing to point out, I think I overheard. I think Michael Maniac, I think he was gone this weekend for something.
Gotcha.
So I think that's one of the reasons he wasn't playing. And
Hey.
people were like murmuring, like, I don't know if this is the right time to be missing stuff because those guys could look good too. That's what I think happened.
Okay.
Don't quote me on it.
Yeah, and again, Coach Corbin said, don't read into any of the playing time for any of these goalies. He's going to make a decision by the beginning of non-conference. Whoever starts that game will be the starting goalie. That will be the benchmark for, when we finally realize, or when we finally find out who is going to win that starting job. Don't read into the playing time yet. I will say, though, Sam Morris, I've heard nothing but glowing reviews of freshman Sam Morris. And we talked about it earlier before the show started. If you get a freshman goalie in there that comes by it honestly and earns that starting spot, and he's the, your 4-year goalie, that's how you build a program. That's how, Centeno last year, that's Centeno. He was a 4-year starter. Gabby Peterson, 4-year starter. You want to find that guy, and I think you found that guy in Sam Morris.
Yeah. I haven't seen him play. I'm excited though. I kind of want him to play next week just to see him.
Yeah, he's a little more athletic than the other two. We heard Michael Maniac, very technically sound. He's lacking height. He's not as tall as Sam Morris. He's not as tall as Jimmy Perreault, and that's tough because it's a game of inches. It's a game of one goal can be the absolute deciding factor in a season. So if those inches coupled with the fact that he's a little less athletic give Sam Morris the job, I won't be mad.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. And we can't we can't give Sam Morris the job and then he gives up 10 goals and then say, Coach Corbin, why did you start Sam Morris?
Mm-hmm.
Why is he your starting goal?
It's got to be for sure.
I think we need to trust him. I think we need to trust Corbin in his decision making. It's kind of like the Bears and their kicking situation. They're very similar. You got to go with your coach because he sees these guys more than any of us do. He sees them every day in practice. He knows their mentality. He talks to them. Don't question him. He's not infallible. And if it gets to a point where 3 games in a row, the starting goalie is not up to snuff, we can then begin questioning Coach Corbin's decision-making. I think it's a little early for that. And right now, my front runner personally is Sam Morris.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's hard to say.
It is. I think the athleticism, that's what does it for me. You cannot teach
I like
athleticism.
Jimmy, dude.
You like Jimmy? He's a senior too.
He's good. Mike's good too.
It's tough. It really is tough. But the defense in front of them, one of the best in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
They had a honorable mention all MIAC player and Robbie Sobzak, all honorable mention all conference, striker, Josh Ballsiger, and he's off to a flying start. He already got 3 goals this season. So yeah, I like it. I like them a lot. I'm very rose-colored glasses on almost every smooth sport except volleyball. But yeah, I like them a lot.
I think they played Carroll. Central beat them 3-0 last time they played last year. So and then they tied Carroll 1-1 last year. That's who they have Wednesday and Friday both at home. So I think a lot of problems are going to be, or not problems, but a lot of things are going to be figured out then once they play those teams Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah. So I will be gone for Central, sadly. I will not be at that game.
I will be there.
Okay. I'm going to miss it. Maybe I probably won't be home. So the reason that I'm gone is my grandfather passed away a couple months ago. Wow. Time flies. And we are finally having the memorial service for him at a restaurant that is, meant a lot to my family. So I'm going home. I'm leaving on Friday. I'm driving all the way to Iowa City to pick up my brother. And then I'm driving all the way to Chicago to get home. It'll be like 8 hours in total, but I'm doing it with a happy heart, of course, Mom and Dad and Ryan. So I will not be here Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I'll return Sunday night. No Squeeze next weekend. You can go back and watch an old Squeeze. How fun would that be? Go back and watch like the first Squeeze on YouTube from last year. See how much we've grown. Mm-hmm. That's what I'll do this weekend. Yeah. Maybe. Okay, that's a lot of driving though. We'll be right back. I think we're going to talk probably about the Cubs a little bit. We're going to talk about, that's about it. Oh, vacation state draft. We're doing another draft coming up after the break. Vacation states, 4 rounds deep. What states have the best vacations or what,
I wish I went on more vacations.
Me too. I really haven't been on much. We're going to be talking a lot.
I got on quite a bit.
I mean, I go once a year, but we go to the same place. We talked about that last week. Michigan, Redemax. Awesome. I love it. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to The Squeeze. You are listening to The Squeeze on YouTube. Channel name Anthony Pasquazi. I'm Anthony Pasquazi. That's Alec Rude. You should probably know that by now, unless you're a new listener, in which case, please hit that subscribe button. Let's just take a moment of silence for Cubs fans in 2019 and their hope for anything more than a wild card loss. Just a moment of silence. Okay, thank you very much. I needed that. Javi Baez, hairline fracture and his thumb, out for the remainder of the season. This has been an injury-riddled year. This has been a disappointing year. Ben Zobrist was out all year with a divorce, which is a new type of injury. I didn't know you could do that. Did you hear that?
Who?
Ben Zobrist has been out all season. He got a divorce. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he missed the entire season. He came back a couple weeks ago. But yeah, the 37-year-old missed with a divorce. There's a first time for everything. Cole Hamels has been beat up. Wilson Contreras has been beat up. Tore his hamstring, strained his hamstring again. Anthony Rizzo has had back injuries. I am a Cubs fan. Baseball is my favorite sport. I watch nearly every game. I'm not going to watch the rest of the season, I don't think. It's too frustrating. I made it through 2012. I made it through 2013. I made it through 2014. The dark days. I made it through the dark days watching Cubs baseball. And it was fine because they were the dark days. You kind of knew, okay, we suck, but this is still fun to watch Brian LaHare. It's still fun because it's Cubs baseball and Wrigley Field's gorgeous and the uniform means a lot to a lot of people. A lot of history. Now we expect greatness. We expect World Series championships. We expect pennants, and we're not getting it. And it hurts. And it's really frustrating. Luckily, the Brewers also suck. So I'm not getting trash talked very much. But they're not good. They're not going anywhere. And I've been saying it for a week and a half now. I almost don't want them to make the playoffs because I can see it already. I can see it written on the wall. They're going to lose the wild card game. And I don't want to put myself through that again because it was tough for me last year to watch them lose game 163, watch them lose the wild card game against the Rockies in the fashion that they did, went out without a whimper. I don't want to see it happen again. So I don't even want them to make the playoffs. The magic is gone. I think you gotta sell. You gotta sell something. I don't know what you sell. You can debate about it all off season long. Chris Bryant, probably on the chopping block. Wilson Contreras, probably on the chopping block. You need to go out and sign Garrett Cole. You need to go out and trade for a starting pitcher because your starting rotation got hurt this year because it was old. It couldn't strike anybody out. Pacoda knew the projections that we were going to win 79 games. They've won 78 games. There's 20 games left. So they were a little bit wrong, but they knew that this pitching staff, this pitching rotation was not going to be good. We added Craig Kimbrell. Well, he's hurt. Steve Cishek got hurt because he had to use him every other game. Carl Edwards Jr. broke, and we had to trade him to the Padres. Pedro Strop broke, and he can't pitch anymore with a 6 ERA. Pacoda knew this was going to happen. I didn't see it coming. I thought they were going to win the division by leaps and bounds. I was wrong. Cubs fans were wrong. Blow it up. Reset. Next year, this is a true statement. You could sell Chris Bryant and Wilson Contreras and still win 100 games next year. You can also sell Chris Bryant, and that's it, and probably win 100 games next year. Go out and sign Anthony Rendon. Go out and sign Garrett Cole. Live in the luxury tax. The Ricketts family, please. You have pretty deep pockets. You can do it. The Yankees do it every year. The Dodgers do it every year. Why can't you? This is a greedy Cubs fan asking for more. Give me more. But this was the window, and it feels like the window is closed. The window was through 2021, through the contract of MVP Chris Bryant, one of the best players in baseball, one of the top 15 players in baseball, the best Cub. That was the window. The window seems closed. Get rid of it while you still can.
As a Twins fan, I got nothing to complain about. We're going to the playoffs, baby.
Remember when I thought that the Indians were climbing back up into the
I thought they were too. I
Central?
said a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, Twins weren't going to make the playoffs, but they're proving me wrong. AL's going to be fun, dude.
AL is going to be fun. The Astros are
I find
officially
it's-
my team. The Astros are my team.
I know the Cubs are – I understand why you say this, but You have no right to be mad when your team makes the playoffs.
You do when the expectations are so
No.
much higher.
You don't.
The wild card
Baseball's
game.
it's hard to make the playoffs.
The wild card game is not the playoffs. The wild card game is this
I'm pretty
weird.
sure it is.
It is. It's the postseason, but it's not. It's enigmatic. It doesn't exist. You should not be happy with a 1-game coin flip. That's not how baseball works. You win your gosh darn division, or you get the number 1 wild card spot. I like the wild card game when my team isn't in it. When my team is in it, I hate it more than anything. I think it should just be 3 division winners and a wild card winner. Really make winning your division the most important thing in baseball. That's how it used to be. I would like to see it happen again.
I wish I could do a rule like if you're up like 2 games behind the second wild card team, then it's on a game.
Maybe,
Or
yeah.
like if you're within like 2 games or
I
something,
like that. I like
then
that.
you have to play it because it can be vice versa. But say if like the Cubs are like 4 games back in the Nationals, that's not fair.
Yeah, it's almost like what was the point of playing 162 games if it's coming down to 1 game and the Nationals were a clearly better
Yeah.
team over the course of that 162. I could rant about the Cubs forever. I'm not going to because it just makes me sad. I remember, it was last season of the squeeze. It was the same baseball season. Baseball stretches from one squeeze to the next squeeze. I remember sitting here and saying, it feels like 2016 again because they had a stretch. They went 18-6. They were looking awesome. They were winning walk-offs. They were shutting people out. We're a far, far cry away from 2016. It doesn't even feel like remotely the same team. Yu Darvish, he's been awesome. Jose Quintana, he's been awesome. Kyle Hendricks, he's been awesome. Chris Bryant has put up really nice numbers, but he can't seem to do anything in the clutch. Javi Baez has not been great. Anthony Rizzo has not been great. Kyle Schwarber with 35 home runs, that's fun. But why don't all of them have 35 home runs? In a year when there are rookies hitting 50, 60 bombs, why are your big boppers not bopping? Where did we go wrong with that? Why are we not hitting home runs like Cody Bellinger, like Pete Alonso, and like Christian Yelich? Why is it not happening for us? I don't know. I don't know the answers. I don't want to ask the questions anymore because, like I said, it just makes me sad. Hard left turn, segue into our final segment of the day. I don't know what made me think of this. There was literally no reason. It is an artificial radio topic that we have just contrived out of nowhere. I'm going to give you the first pick, which means I get the next 2.
I got to remember all the states in this country.
There are 50 of them.
Well, yeah.
Okay. You probably shouldn't pick the one you live in, but we all know that I will because I'm a homer, literally. Alec Rude with the first pick. Why are you doing research? Just use your head.
Hard.
Just use your brain. With the first pick in the vacation state draft, who are you picking?
This doesn't have to be places I've been, right?
No, not at all. It's just your favorite places you like to visit, places that you think will win in a poll. That's probably the most important part because that's all we care about here is winning.
California.
California, number 1. I like the pick. There's a lot of different vacation spots. San Francisco is a lot different than San Diego. Which is a lot different than LA. So you can pretty much do anything.
Palm Springs. I'm going there for New Year's.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably my favorite place in California. That place is sweet.
Awesome. That's a good pick. Number 1, though. I don't know. I've never been. I'm not sure I want to go because it kind of freaks me out. Hawaii is my first pick or second pick in the first round.
I didn't even think about that.
Hawaii is a pretty good state, pretty good vacation state. Not for me personally, but I've heard people like it there.
I've heard some of my friends said they don't like it.
Really?
Yeah, they said it's just weird.
It's just kind of like it's an emblematic
It's overrated,
thing.
they
Yeah,
say.
overrated. Okay.
But I've heard good things too.
Okay. And then, so that's number 1 for me. Number 2, I'm probably going to go Florida because, again, it's the same thing. You can get a lot of different things. You go to Key West, that's a lot different than Miami, which is a lot different than Tampa. And you can get the Atlantic Ocean. You can get the Gulf of Mexico. It's very different. So I'm going to go with Florida.
I got next 2.
Now you get the next 2.
Oof. Gosh, this is hard. I'll say Arizona
Arizona, great pick.
and New York.
New York. I don't know. Why? Why New York?
I was debating between 2 different states here, but I think New York. There's so much to do there.
Yeah.
I think people go there for vacation all the time.
Yeah.
I think. And you don't. Not everyone likes warm weather.
That's true.
Like there's stuff to do, and there's so much stuff to do.
Have you ever been?
No,
Yeah, no, me neither.
I'm going. My dad and I are planning on going to the U.S. Open next year for tennis.
Oh,
Hopefully.
that'd be awesome.
That's our goal.
Can you invite me now that I like tennis?
My cousin has a very small apartment, so and we're hoping to stay with her. So I don't, unless you want to
But I love tennis.
stand and
But
sleep.
I love tennis now. I'm a fan of tennis. No, I'm just kidding.
I want
Serena.
to go.
How about that? Serena losing?
I kind of expected it.
You did.
She's not clutch, dude.
I guess not. Not anymore.
Well, she's clutch getting to the final. Once
Yeah.
she gets to the final,
No more.
it gets to her, man.
Final today, Nadal and
Medvedev.
Medvedev. Nadal, my boy. His biceps are.
And unless Nadal's facing Federer, Djokovic, I don't really
You don't care?
care to
Because he's
watch.
going to win, is basically.
No, Medvedev's not exciting to me.
Okay.
He just isn't.
I noticed there's a lot of spin on Nadal's ball. That's what I noticed. He just puts way more spin on his ball than anybody
Me?
else.
I have no spin.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just a flat
Knuckleball.
No power.
Power, okay.
If it misses, it misses. I don't care. I think you should see some of these tennis players. They just lob it to you. The points are so slow. I think that's boring. Why would you want to play tennis then if you can't just try to whack the thing?
Yeah, I like that. That's probably why you're not very good.
I am good.
So New York and Arizona, I'm gonna pick. Okay,
I know. I'm thinking.
I'm gonna pick Louisiana for the sole purpose of New Orleans. Pretty good state, but that's pretty much all there is to do. And then this one almost got away from me. Almost Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean, there's no bigger. There's no bigger tourist destination. New York City, maybe, and then Las Vegas. So my four, what were they? Hawaii, Florida, Nevada, Louisiana. Who was your last pick?
Washington D.C.
What? That's not even a state, dude.
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay, Washington D.C. is your state.
Come on.
It's the 50 states. There's 50 of them, not 51.
Is it actually?
It's like saying Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is my favorite state.
It's a. We can say it's a state.
It's not a state.
What do these people say?
Which state is Washington D.C. in? It's not in a state.
So I can't.
This is a geography lesson. You can go Maryland and probably lose the draft.
Now you're pressuring.
Chicago's pretty cool, man.
I'm not saying
Chicago's a pretty cool place, man.
because I've heard good things about it. South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay.
Never been.
So you've never been to any of your states that you drafted?
I've been to California many times. And
you
Arizona.
said-
I've been to Arizona for a wedding.
My bad. In one ear, not the other. That's a problem I have listening to other people. I need to get better at
So
it.
what do I got? California, Arizona, New York, South Carolina.
Okay.
Should have DC.
We'll throw that up on the poll. I didn't do it last week because I got lazy and kind of forgot. Way to land the plane. Way to land this plane strong. A little bit of turbulence at the end, but we got there. We'll be back in 2 weeks, not next week. I'm going to Chicago. He's going to a tennis tournament. Hopefully he has a better weekend than I don't know. We're gonna have good weekends. It'll be fun. A lot of driving for me. A lot of probably losing to Bethel for you. I'm joking, Mom and Dad. I'm not this mean to Alec typically. Thank you for listening to The Squeeze. We held an audience for pretty much the whole time. I'll be excited to go back and look at that. Like I said in my unprofessional rant about support, any support that you give us really does mean a lot. I think I say it all the time, but anytime someone apologizes for not listening, I say don't apologize, because you listen one time. For me, that's enough, because it just it means that we're doing this for other people and we're making other people happy, and that is what makes us happy. That's why we're doing this. So we're talking about St. Mary's sports pretty much every week, Sunday 10 to 12. Thank you for listening, and roll cards. We need to figure out like a send off. We need to figure out a send off statement now that we're YouTubers. Every YouTuber has a clever send off statement. You have a clever send off statement, leave it in the comments below. That's another cliched YouTuber thing. So there you go. If you have a send off statement, put it in the comments below. Thank you for listening.